Success Insight shares the stories of the people with passion and drive who make things happen in the world. Here's your host, Howard Fox.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight podcast. Andrée is our leadership, mindset, and golf performance coach. She is an LPGA Class A Life member, a nationally recognized top 50 golf teacher and expert, and a member of the Maine Golf Hall of Fame. She's also a Neurolinguistic programming master certified coach, recognizing golf's value as a business tool in today's competitive marketplace. Andrée works with individuals, groups, corporate or organizational clients to create educational and team-building programs that enhance the professional success of aspiring executives. Andrée, welcome back to Mindset Monday on the Success Insight podcast.
Thank you, Howard. Always a pleasure to be back and excited to share more mindset ideas for success in 2022.
Fantastic. And we are in February, and my memories of February growing up in the Detroit suburbs and my living half my life in Chicago, our February is cold. How is it out there in Portland, Maine?
Freezing. We actually had a rain event turn to ice, and I got really nervous because as I had a hip replacement back in October, it's like, oh no, don't. Out from under my feet. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, you got to be careful there. You got to be careful. So what's in store for us today? How are we going to warm up our hearts today?
Well, not only that, I mean, from day one, I've always said, you got to go for the gold and not settle for silver, right?
Right.
So we're here in an Olympic winter in 2022. So what I really want to cover today is the 5 keys to the heart of a champion leader.
Wow, I like that.
So we can have our hearts warm up, and then the freeze will go away, right? And everything will melt.
I love that.
But truly, the 5 keys to the heart of a champion leader. I think about an Olympian. Last year I covered warriors, top professional athletes, business leaders, entrepreneurs, the champions who lead, and the leaders who are champions of their company, staff, team. All of them have heart. If you think about the top athletes, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Roger Federer, Tiger Woods, Tom Brady, Serena Williams, Babe Didrikson Zaharias, even back then. Think about the personalities and how they carry themselves, and Usain Bolt and Cristiano Ronaldo. And then the Olympians of Simone Biles, Michael Phelps, they all had, yes, they had charisma. Yes, they had magnetism, but their heart, and they wore their passion in their heart and on their sleeve.
Sure.
They all have that magnetism and fire, and it's very much heart-centered.
Love it.
And so the 5 keys come from the word heart. H-E-A-R-T. And we're going to start with H being heart. E is each step forward. A is action. R is review, reflect, reassess, rewrite. And then T is for team. So let's get back to having heart. Picture, again, your top 5%. In business, in sports, the top 5%, the cream of the crop, all have heart. And clearly none of these individuals have 1 foot in or 1 foot out. There's no waver. They're driven, they're focused. They have their vision. They've done their smarter goals. They've done all their assessments. They are on purpose. They stay true to their vision. And all of these plans have set up their strategy for success, and it supports their core values. And we'll get into that in another episode later on. But if you don't come from your heart, you can't stay true to those either. And so getting to the heart, you've got to have that unwavering, purpose-driven determination.
The one thing that I am concerned about heart is, and I do agree, to be successful, you have to be all in. And it really has to align with your values, and then your values then can determine what your authenticity is. And that can be heart as well. But I'm wondering, how do we ensure leading with the heart is also for the greater good, as opposed to, I'm doing this for me and me alone?
Sure. And that's why your top leaders, when they have a heart, they're focused not just on themselves. They've got the whole team involved.
Okay.
And that's why the last one we're going to discuss is team.
Okay.
So if we go to E, each step forward has a purpose and a plan that ties back to the vision, the smarter goals, and is strategically planned out to produce measurable results. So again, I love using sports as an analogy for this. The form of practice, you've got nutrition, you've got your cross training, you've got your mental acuity and your mindset. All those pieces have to come together. Each one matters to keep going forward while sustaining.
Sure.
The heart. And that heart drives the action. And it's important to have action versus just being busy. While hard work can give us internal satisfaction, constant checking in on the action taken to be sure you and the team are staying on track versus going through the motions. Now, yes, an athlete has their team. Okay. So I follow what you were saying a minute ago. It's like, well, what about a corporation that has a bigger team? Every company has a different culture of how they call their teammates. I know Disney calls them the cast, but it has to trickle down. And if that leader doesn't have heart, the team doesn't support that. I've seen that time and time again.
Sure. Something dawns on me too about the word action is that, so that you're not just going through the paces, but that action has to be purposeful.
And tying back again to the smarter goals, the strategy that has been set up for fulfilling the purpose and success goals of the company, success goals of the athlete, going for the gold or going for the trophy, the win.
Right.
And another, I say action versus busy because it's very easy, and I can use social media as a great example. It's so easy to just go surfing and you can just decide, oh, I'm going to do this video and post it. Or is it really tying back to the goal and the vision of what is being accomplished this year and the greater vision of where you're going to and toward? Or are you just posting the post? Right. That's the best example I can give you.
Okay.
And it just helps understand it's really important to understand the relationship between the tasks to reach the goals and be sure all of that is done is relating back to the greater purpose and vision.
Sure.
And again, with all in is heart.
Something dawns on me, and we could talk about this later or another time, but as you start to build your course around all of this, I see a lot of diagrams and acronyms laid out page after page, and here's the information, and then reflecting back to the attendees, the audience, what does this mean for you? Exactly. What does it mean today? Or reflect on it and come back tomorrow and tell us what it means for you tomorrow. I
Yep.
love this. Yeah.
And that ties in exactly to the R. Review, reflect, reassess, rewrite. Thank you, Howard. I couldn't have asked for a better lead in.
Yeah, as I'm taking notes, and for our audience, as Andrée and I are chatting, I take a couple notes here and there, and then I get her the notes and from her, and I produce the show notes, which go up on the website. But I take notes because that's, if I have a thought, I want to write those down. But this is just kind of stream of consciousness as I'm listening to you, and didn't even dawn on me. This ties back to reflection and review. So good on us. I love that.
How about that, Howard? How about that? And the acronyms are so key. I'll never forget when I went through my Dale Carnegie certifications for speaking. They teach you the stacking method so that you can remember the flow of everything. And it's a great way to pull back and say, okay, all right, I'm at the heart of the matter. Is it still true to the vision and goals and purpose of what we are working on, and to ensure that we are being successful? And this review, reflect, reassess, and rewrite, it's like, okay, we're not moving forward. The bottom line is not moving up. It's dropping. Now, how do we redirect? Let's get back on track. And the plan of action and strategy that ties back to the smarter goals. It's so important to make time in your calendar as you're planning out the year to keep checking on that. Because if you don't, you lose ground. And I know a lot of people have done a lot of reassessing with the COVID craziness that we've all experienced. And there's been a whole rewriting of many things in many ways and how business is actually done these days.
Sure.
And so this all ties in together.
I have a client that I work with, and while normally in the course of my career development coaching, I would offer up a kind of a framework for keeping track of how well you're doing on a daily basis, could be weekly. I wouldn't go much more than a week because you have to capture that information, write it down,
right,
and ask yourself what went well, what didn't go well, what can I do differently. But there's one particular client of mine who her rubric that she used just took that to a whole other level. And having that kind of rubric about assessing how well you're doing at any given point, or what did I learn today that will affect how I reflected or reviewed myself earlier. But the fact is, I've got to go back and ask her next time we meet, is how often does she reflect and go back to this rubric and use it in kind of, it's like a lot like being out in the middle of the big body of water in a sailboat. You're constantly adjusting the sails to keep that boat moving, hopefully in the direction you want it to move. And I think this phase here, this step, the reflect and review is so very crucial, because if you've got all the rest of it there, but you're not continually reflecting and reviewing and making those minute adjustments, then eventually you're going to go off course.
Well, and it's like, I think in another episode, we've talked about the plane analogy too. When a pilot's out on that plane, it's never truly on course, but you've got all the data and all of your support to keep you back on track, or to get you back on track immediately.
Right.
And that's exactly what companies and sports athletes all need to do to stay on track, stay on task. No athlete ever plans to get injured, but that throws you off track. How are you going to then build it back and not miss a beat? And that again ties us back to those with heart. Absolutely. I mean, look at how far Tiger Woods came. Nobody even thought he'd play golf again. He played in a golf tournament in December with his son.
Right.
And he's doing more and more. And pretty amazing. So going back to review, reflect, reassess, rewrite. That plan of action strategy is so key to tie that back to your vision, your smarter goals, and check in and make sure it follows the core values as well. Now, the team fulfills the final word in heart,
Right.
or final letter in heart. The team, the champion leader surrounds themselves with a team. Athletes now, they don't do it alone anymore. There's very few Bubbas out there that it's just them.
Right.
But even an athlete that minimizes the coaches, everybody has a coach. And not only do they have a coach, they have a full team now. They have, as I mentioned earlier, they have a nutritionist. They have their mindset, mental coach. They have their swing coach. They have the whole team coming together, nutrition and training, cross training, preparation, what is needed to get them in optimal shape.
Sure.
And companies do the same thing. That's why you and I have coaching jobs. We're so lucky to be in this business because we can keep that leader on track toward and beyond the success that is desired and have it better than ever. And without heart, success cannot be sustained.
I love it. I love it.
So
That's great.
the heart feeds the confidence and mindset. And that's why we love what we do. And so when you have heart, you're in a much better position to go for the gold and not settle for silver.
I knew we were going to end with that. I love it. Oh, fantastic. Andrée, great episode. This truly warms us up in the beginning weeks of February. So this is good. This will help us get through the month. I'm certain of that. Hey, before we head out, as usual, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
Absolutely. You can go to andreegolf.com. That's Andrée with 2 E's. I have a YouTube channel. I'm also available on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
There you go.
Got to get them all in now. Got to get them all in.
You got to get them all in. They're all important. They're all important.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a great episode. And listen, just be careful out there. Watch for the snow and the ice. Take good care of yourself. And we'll have you back for episode number 2 in the month of February. Thank you again.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And ready to go full throttle for a great year.
Fantastic.
And have our best year ever.
You got it. You got it. All right, folks, we have just kicked off our February episode with Andrée Martin, our leadership mindset and golf performance coach. Today's topic was the 5 keys to the heart of a champion leader. Do check out the show notes on successinsightpodcast.com. You can also click on the detail link when you go out to the podcasting platforms like Buzzsprout, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and especially Spotify, where we have the entire library of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin episodes available to you. You can check us out on successinsightpodcast.com, and we're also on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Just look for Success Insight Podcast. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whenever you do it, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Listen, take this episode, tap into those 5 keys to the heart of a champion leader, and you become that champion leader as well. And let us know how you're doing, okay? Because we'd love for you to either comment on the episode, share it. And if you have somebody in your life that you think needs to or would value hearing these pearls of wisdom from Andrée Martin, go ahead and share this episode as well. We would love to know that you've done that. Until then, again, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day. Take care of yourselves. Keep warm. February. I'm shivering right now as I even say the word February. And we will see you back for episode number 2 in a couple of weeks. And take care of yourselves. And we'll see you on another episode of Mindset Monday with Andrée Martin on the Success Insight Podcast. Take care now.
Success Insight is a production of Fox Coaching and First Story Strategies. Find us online, successinsightpodcast.com.